All right, welcome back. It is build time yet again, and this time it's going to be 1/10 scale. We're going to go with a Redcat Gen8 Scout 2 Axe Edition. Now this truck I've had for several months sitting here while I was finishing some other builds, and I bought it initially not only because of the features of the truck and the actual body I love, but also because it had the FlySky GT5 radio that I wanted to use on some other trucks. So I've been using the radio, loving it, getting used to it. So now I'm kind of at a point to start this. So I've accumulated a few little upgrades along the way to just start a build right out of the box. I have not even driven this guy yet, but I've done a lot of research on it. And one thing I read was the foams were a point of contention. So I've been wanting to try these Crawler Innovations comp cut dual stage. So I've got soft and medium to throw in there. I'm going to keep the tires, and I'll swap out the plastic beadlocks for the Deep Dish RC 4-wheel drive stamp steelies. And I've got some SSD scale hubs to go with those. Then as far as performance, I could not find the Treal overdrive front gears, so I got the Redcat underdrive. I'll put those in the rear. And then link mounts, also read, were a point of failure, so I've got some SSD aluminum link mounts. And then I've got an inner portal, I guess that's aluminum. I've got the outer portal weight, that's brass. And then I've got the C-arms that are brass as well. So that'll put a little more weight up front. Servo skid, kind of linkage skid, that's all exposed up front. And then, of course, I'm going to pull off the Velcro and do magnets. And then I've got some graphics here. I've got some little details, some wipers, some door handles, gas caps to put on there, antenna. I want to do a little bit of paintwork detail to this. I like the black, but I want to punch it up a little. So I got an extra decal sheet from Redcat, and then I went ahead and got a spare tonneau cover because I know that'll get torn up, I'm sure. So not a lot. Oh, and one other thing that's in the box. What's in the box? These are really slick rock sliders that are tucked up to the body. They're not tubes. So that'll be really clean. And then this is just the tire carrier mount, mirrors and stuff that came with the kit that's not installed yet. So not a ton to do on this. Most of it's going to be stripping down the body to do a little paint work and putting it all back together. The chassis work will actually probably go super quick. But yeah, I thought it'd be a nice change from 24 scale to jump back into something a little larger here. And I think this will be a great platform. It's really well set up out of the box. There's just a little fine tuning that I want to do, and then of course I want to make this body my own. So that's the preview, and hopefully I'm just going to push this video out, do this kind of all at once, and you'll see the end result shortly. I wanted to real quick get a baseline weigh-in of the stock truck before I get started modifying. So let's see what I'm starting with here. So it's got front bias. This is no battery, and of course no mirrors, no tonneau cover, and no spare tire. So just the truck. So not bad. Let me flip over to ounces. So 119.8 and a 54 front, 46 rear. So let me pop the battery in I'll be using and check it again. Okay, I've got the battery in that I'll be running, and that did push the weight up just a hair. We're up to 365, and it gave me a percentage forward to 54.46, which that would all be lost if I install that spare. But you know, as far as just the base truck, it's good to know the starting percentages and weights. So let me flip it over to ounces real quick. So a 128.9, we'll just call that 129. So that is my baseline for the Scout 2 Axe Edition. So I'm going to get started on this guy. Back a little update here. Got these deep dish wheels, at least one of them, installed with the dual stage Crawler Innovations soft foams in the front. So test fit it, looks really good, but there is an offset of 3 millimeters on this hub plus the deep dish, so you can see the difference in stock. It's sticking out quite a bit, so it means when I get the wheels turned, I'm going to get into the fenders in either direction. So to solve that, I ordered up some just no offset hubs from RC4WD Drive, and then you can see the difference here. The +6 come, or the +3 come with the deep dish, and then there's the new ones there I'm going to swap in. So that should tuck them back in, and then for comparison here you can see the foams quite a bit larger, but it's got that soft outer where this is just all kind of the one density, fairly stiff memory foam, the stock. And then I didn't use the outer tuner ring. You can put that in there if you need a little more foam, but these tires are not super tall. So I'm going to get those hubs swapped in there and get a whole matching set of wheels on this, and jump in, I guess, to the front axle after this. So progress is being made. Made some progress here, got the wheels all mounted up and on and back off the front end. And one thing I forgot to mention about these, you know, when I put the reduced hubs on here, that I guess reduced the hub by about 3 millimeters, I also had to order reduced hardware. So I believe these are 8 millimeters I ended up using. And you can see with the hex fully seated, you know, the hex sticks out just a little bit. So there's no protrusion issue. But the, you know, the original ones that came with it were really long. And of course they wouldn't work with something like this, because you see how close the pin ends up being. Well, there's the hole. You can see where the pin is. So so here's the new assembly, very weighty, the brass outer cover and the aluminum inner knuckle. So that's both SSD, and that did not come with any hardware, so I just transferred everything over, and that's the original plastic. So you can see kind of the size comparison. A lot beefier, a lot more weight. And then here is the C-Arm caster carrier. So that's the brass Treal, and that did come with full hardware replacement. You can see the through screw there. I guess this piece is actually longer, I guess, to account for a bulkier piece, but that's a screw that goes through the shock. And then I assume this is for the Gen 1 shock mount that was ball mounted on one side. This new axle, it actually is captured right there on both sides, so that's a through bolt, goes all the way through the shock. So I won't be using that. And then it comes with this little screw that I can't figure out. You know, I didn't take it off the stock, but what I figured is it goes right there. It's a retainer for that shock threaded, you know, screw. So since that, you know, doesn't have any kind of head on it, I guess that's a retainer to make sure it doesn't back out into the assembly, because you can see how close it is to that upper hole. So I guess the flange just hangs over enough to kind of be a safeguard. So, and then this other hole is unused, and that's also on the OEM right here. So I don't know what that's for. Maybe on a different model or something on that. So anyways, I'm going to get this side reassembled, and I think while I'm down here I'm going to put on the front link mounts from SSD, these aluminum ones. And what makes these stand out from, I guess, stock and other aftermarket is they have a full inset that captures the axle, and then they're keyed on one side. So apparently these are a lot stronger than the factory option. So I'm going to see, this is an axe, so I do have some Gen 2 hardware, and I've got the upgraded axles and everything. So I'll be curious to see if what's on here already solves that problem or not. But you can see that kind of nub coming off the axle. So these SSDs look like they fully capture that piece. So anyways, that's the progress. So I'm going to get all this put on and we'll see what's next. Quick shot here of the stock portals I just pulled apart, brand new. They do have grease in them. So I'd read a lot of people didn't have grease in their Gen 8s in the portals. So that's good to know. I'll be putting in my own marine grade grease when I reassemble these. But just want to let you know. Okay, I'm back with an update. Got all 4 wheels on. I've got the SSD aluminum link mounts on the front and rear installed. Got the whole front end put back together with my Treal Brass C-hub carriers, the aluminum inner knuckle, and the brass SSD outer portal cover. You can see that kind of shinier gray piece. I went ahead and installed my Club5 front skid that protects my steering linkage. And then I also installed the Redcat underdrive ring and pinion gear set in the rear. And that went in super easy, stock part from Redcat. So the next thing to complete the chassis is going to be swapping out these Club5 metal sliders from these stock plastic ones. And then since I'm done with the chassis right now, I'm going to go ahead and put the scale hubs on. I've got lockers on the front and just the black for the rear. And then the final piece to get rid of this plastic chrome bling here is swapping the shackles out for some gunmetal gray ones from Carlos Central as well. So that will complete the chassis. And I tell you what, I really like these Deep Dish wheels. They look great. They stretch those tires a little fatter. So get this buttoned up and then move on to the paintwork on the body and adding a few little details there, and this thing is ready to get a battery in it and turned on. Alright, back. Got this body back on. So I've got the gunmetal shackles installed. I've got the front and rear scale hubs, and I got these nice looking sliders on there. So everything went on really easily. One thing to note, a little disappointing, these front scale locking hubs from SSD, both sides popped right off the lock nut. So I'm going to have to get some glue and re-glue those on there. That's disappointing. I've used these solid black, I guess rear locking hubs on another build, have had no issues with them, and you can see these are fine. They held on fine. I don't know if it's because there's 3 different plastics here, a chrome, a black, and a red, multi-piece, you know, it's just made different. But anyway, it's not a big deal, just glue that onto the lock nut. But these sliders, really sweet, really tuck up nicely. So I think that may conclude this session, and along with the body paintwork and detail that is to come, my Trick RC light kit for this showed up, so I'm going to install that as well when I do the body portion next. So I think this will be signing off this guy. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.